In this video, I'm sharing 7 lifestyle shifts that help me balance my hormones and regulate my period naturally and sustainably. For years, I saw my period as a huge inconvenience. I dealt with hormonal acne, irregular cycles, heavy and painful periods, and honestly thought that this was just normal womanhood, and that was just the reality of my life. But everything changed when I started studying hormonal health, because that's when I really realized that we've been raised to believe a lot of things about our bodies that simply are not true. And girl, because I don't gatekeep, I'm going to share exactly what helped me balance my hormones and regulate my period, so you can start doing this too. Of course, use this at your own discretion. I'm not a doctor or medical professional. I'm just sharing with you what works for me and my clients. But before I tell you the lifestyle shifts that helped me balance my hormones, first of all, you should hit the subscribe button. And secondly, we need to delve into what hormones actually are. Your hormones are your body's chemical messengers that travel through your bloodstream and influence how our tissues and organs function. Each hormone is like a key and our receptors are like the lock. And when they unlock, they trigger certain things to happen. What that means is our brain and our body are on a constant feedback loop. And our lifestyle impacts how our hormones regulate and function. When your lifestyle changes, so does your hormone regulation, which is why your lifestyle and your routine is absolutely imperative when it comes to your hormone health, because your stress, your sleep, training, nutrition can alter your overall hormone health, which is exactly why paying attention to your lifestyle is one of the most important things you can do to balance and regulate your hormones. Since you've clicked on this video, I know you want to regulate your hormones. However, if you are currently on the contraceptive pill or taking hormonal contraception, you need to come off those. When you are on the pill stops your body from ovulating. So what does that mean in terms of your hormones? The pill stops your body from producing its own hormones. Your hormones are lying there dormant because the pill is stopping them from doing what they're supposed to be doing. So now you can understand the issue, right? You're trying to regulate something that isn't even working right now. Once you've come off the pill, you need to track your cycle. So using apps such as Flow or Natural Cycles, which is my personal favorite. Your circadian rhythm is basically your 24-hour hormone cycle, and it's deeply connected to cortisol and melatonin, which are tied to light and dark. The problem is we live in a modern society where we're surrounded by artificial light, so your body loses the signal of when it's nighttime and when it's daytime. And it gets a little bit confused. You need to give your body a little bit of a helping hand to help it be a little bit more in sync with its own circadian rhythm. Now, one way you can do this is making sure that in the evenings you are dimming the lights in your house or put lamps on. You do not want harsh lighting by the time the sun has set, because what that is doing, that's artificial light that is disturbing your body's receptors. It doesn't actually know the fact that it's nighttime, because the artificial light is telling it, oh, it's daytime. And another thing you should do is limit your blue light exposure. We're so lucky in this day and age, we literally can buy glasses that block the blue light from your TV or your laptop, whatever. But the old school method, and this is what I personally do because it gets the best results in terms of your sleep health, is just limiting screen time before you go to bed. If you struggle with a nighttime routine, if you struggle with sleep, you need to build a nighttime routine that allows your body to sleep better and more efficiently. So my nighttime routine is personally built around slowing down my nervous system, calming it down, and actually helping my body switch off. And I do certain things, have given my body the cues that it is now time to wind down, that we're getting ready to go to sleep. I have a warm cooked dinner, take a warm shower. I have food that isn't too heavy on my digestion, because if you have a really super heavy meal an hour or 2 hours before you go to bed, that heavy meal is sitting there in your gut and it's actually preventing you from falling asleep. So what I would recommend is making sure that with your evening meal, eat at least 2 hours before you're going to sleep. This allows your body to digest the food a lot more efficiently, and you're not going to be going to sleep with a heavy feeling gut. And some other things to help with your sleep health is taking sleep supplements, magnesium biglycinate and Supreme Sleep. Now you can get these at Elite Subs with my code SDAY10. There is a discount code in the description below, so make sure you go and head over there. And then once I have done my little evening routine, I'm showered, I'm all good to go, I then go to bed and I just read a book on my Kindle. And the moment I start to feel heavy-eyed, I start to feel sleepy, that's when I hit the hay. day. Like if you have poor sleep, your cortisol is going to be higher throughout the day. Your body is more likely to be in flight or fight throughout the day. That is no safe space for your hormones. Now, when it comes to circadian rhythm, of course you've got the flip side. You've got wake cycle. In order to give your body the signal, hello, we need to wake up now, what you need to do is you need to expose your body to sunlight as soon as possible. Now, if it's winter, what you can do is you can whack on them SAD lamps that basically are replication of sunlight. Open your blinds, turn your lights on, and ideally get outside, get in the fresh air, see actual real light, because this is going to help your body be awake, alert, and ready for the day. Yes, we're predominantly going to talk about our female hormones. However, one really important hormone that we should really talk about because it impacts our female hormones too is insulin. Now, insulin is a hormone produced by a pancreas, which is responsible for the regulation of your blood sugar levels by allowing cells to absorb glucose for energy. Now, one of the simplest ways to support insulin is to stop eating naked carbs. And what I mean by that is carbs on their own. Just having a pastry, just having cereal, just toast. All this is going to do is cause a massive blood sugar spike. You're just gonna have a massive energy crash by the time it's the mid-afternoon. So instead, what you should do is you want to pair your carbs with protein, fiber, and some healthy fats too, which will then create a balanced meal, because laying out your food like this will prevent intense blood sugar spikes. When you regulate your blood sugar levels, it literally becomes the foundation of your hormonal health. So some simple examples, if you're not sure what I mean by pairing your carbs with other things: if you're gonna have toast, have eggs, egg whites. If you're having fruit, pair your fruit with yogurt and nuts. I know you've got a sweet tooth. And I also know that when it comes to the evening, you will probably want a sweet treat. That's what I'm like. The really important thing is, especially when you have a sweet craving, is have your sugary treat after your balanced meal, and make sure that meal is a savory meal with plenty of protein, your carbs, and your fats, because what this will do, it will help reduce the intensity of the blood sugar spike after having something higher in sugar. But alongside this, I would really recommend you focus on mostly whole food, unprocessed foods in your diet. Being mindful of the consumption of ultra high processed foods such as fried foods, high in sugar, and actually looking at having more one ingredient foods, because this makes your blood sugar levels a lot more predictable. Because if you have something that's ultra processed, you don't really know what's in it. Therefore, you don't really know how your body and your hormones are going to respond to that. One more thing when it comes to nutrition is I personally wouldn't recommend leaving it longer than 3 to 4 hours between each meal. A lot of the time, especially for us women, if we leave it too long between each meal, we can start to get hangry, and that's when we're more likely to raid our cupboards. So a good usual ballpark is just to eat every 3 to 4 hours. You're going to provide your body with a stable energy source, and your blood sugar is going to be more stable throughout the day. Now, this one is the most important thing to focus on, and that is managing your stress. Stress is one of the biggest hormone disruptors, which is why a lot of us are struggling with our hormonal health in this day and age. Majority of my life, I was the stereotype of an overachiever, being a hustler, go, 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 restless for the wicked. It just burnt me out. Being a perfectionist and an overachiever and wanting to do everything all in one go really didn't help me. I was always rushing. I was doing everything as much as I could. I was piling on my social calendar with as many things as I could think of. At the time, I didn't actually realize how much that was impacting my cycle until I looked deeper. I'm not gonna lie, I thought my regular cycle meant something was wrong with me. I thought I had some sort of hormonal condition. But when I looked at blood work and took advice from practitioners, I realized that it wasn't a major hormonal condition. It was actually caused by stress. And that was like the light bulb moment for me, because I didn't really understand that stress could have such a big, profound impact on how I felt as an individual. Stress shows up in so many forms. Physical stress, which is caused by not sleeping enough, not eating enough, being dehydrated. Mental and emotional stress, overthinking, worrying, cognitive stress, being overstimulated, always feeling like you're running around and running out of time. Social stress, being around draining people, feeling isolated and feeling like you don't belong. So I started to take things a little bit more seriously. With that, I started saying no to more things. I stopped overcompensating for everything. I stopped piling my calendar. I stopped putting so much pressure on myself to get every single minute task done on my to-do list, and learning just to fully rest. And that's when things started to improve with my cycle, with my health, with my sleep. As I'm sat here right now, my cycle is like clockwork every single month. Because the reality is, if you do not take this seriously and you disregard your stress, you're constantly living in fight or flight, your hormones are going to feel it. If there is a time and a place that you slow the hell down, it's in your luteal phase. This is the part of your cycle where your body needs you to slow down. You don't pile on your social calendar. You become a little bit of a hermit, and you spend time doing things such as guided meditation, journaling, sleeping more, even driving and walking a little bit slower to help calm your nervous system. But you also really need to get good at learning the skill of properly resting. And no, I don't just mean taking a day off. I mean resting in a way that signals to your body that you are safe and that you can calm down. I take breaks, I go on walks, I slow down, and just learning how to stop rushing around all the time. But other ways you can take rest and meaningful rest is when it comes to the gym. I used to be the girl who would train every single day, whether it was cardio, whether it was weights and cardio, I was doing something every single day. And I thought I'm a gym gal, I'm hashtag dedicated. But no, what I was doing is I was just running my body into the ground. So now I'm a little bit smarter. I lift 3 to 4 times a week, and I take at least 2 rest days. Because as women especially, this should be a non-negotiable. We are not many men, therefore we need to stop acting like them. We need to be more in tune with our actions, because a lot of the things you might think are normal, you're actually subconsciously not realizing that they're an issue. Like, unlearning rushing around is so difficult, but so important. In this day and age where everything is so fast paced, I mean, look at the content. Everything is within 3 seconds. Go, 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 go. So we're conditioned to reply faster. All you need to do is you need to stop chasing that urgency. Slow down, because your nervous system will thank you. And when you have a calmer nervous system, your body is going to feel a lot more at peace, and therefore your hormones are going to feel a lot more at peace too. Next, we've got caffeine mindfulness. This is not me saying never have caffeine in your life, but the timing of your caffeine really matters when it comes to your hormones. Trust me, I am a coffee gal to the point where my whole day gets better when I have my morning coffee. A few things you should really focus on when it comes to your caffeine consumption, especially when you're looking to regulate your hormones, is making sure that you do not have caffeine straight after waking up. I used to do this all the time, and no wonder why I felt absolutely terrible by midday. You should wait at least 60 to 90 minutes after you've woken up to have your first caffeinated beverage. Because when you wake up, your body already has a natural cortisol spike, which is called your cortisol awakening response. And that's what helps you get out of bed. Cortisol's got a bad rep, but without cortisol, you wouldn't be getting out of bed. But when you drink caffeine immediately upon waking, you stop that natural process from happening. And instead, what you're teaching your body is to become more dependent on caffeine to feel alert, which is a red flag. Because over time, if this is how you're living, it can affect your circadian rhythm and your sleep. I also avoid drinking caffeine when it's too late in the day. Ideally, you should stop drinking caffeine at midday, at the very latest 2 p.m. because caffeine has a lifetime of 6 to 8 hours, which means the caffeine is still rushing through your bloodstream 6 to 8 hours after you have consumed it. So if you struggle to fall asleep and you're having caffeine past 2 p.m, that is probably a big contributing factor as to why. Now, I've already touched on this very briefly in the video, but you need to understand your cycle. It is the most important thing every woman should be doing when it comes to monitoring their health. Your cycle, in particular your period, is your monthly health report card. So therefore, you should know your cycle and what it means. Most women don't even know the 4 phases of their cycle. They don't know which hormones rise and fall at certain parts of their cycle. They don't know when they're actually fertile, and they don't even know how to recognize their ovulation. Understanding your cycle is a superpower. I track my cycle using fertility awareness methods, such as measuring my basal metabolic temperature, looking at my cervical mucus, and sometimes I do LH testing to confirm my ovulation. But I know that might sound like mumble jumble to you. So if you're completely new to this, simplify it. Just start off by downloading Natural Cycles on the App Store and taking your basal metabolic temperature each morning before you physically get out of bed. Through time, this will help you understand your cycle and also how your body responds and feels across the whole part of the month. Lifting weights has been one of the best things I've ever done for my hormone and physical health. And if you're scared of getting bulky and looking like a man, if you see women who are absolutely jacked to high heavens, they're probably on steroids. Physiologically, we are not built to have loads and loads and loads of muscle. It would take years and years of eating in a gigantic surplus, training like an absolute beast, and probably taking assistance in terms of PEDs, which you're not going to do. So you need to get into the gym and you need to lift weights, please, because strength training will improve your insulin sensitivity. It will support your hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin, and it boosts your mood, improving neurotransmitters like dopamine and endorphins. And it supports healthy testosterone levels, which will have a positive impact on our energy, metabolism, and our fertility too. But if you're completely new to the gym and you have no idea where to start, then I have a free fitness female community which is linked in the first line of my description, which has lots of resources in terms of your nutrition, how to track properly, and there are also beginner-friendly gym workouts that you can follow when you go into the gym. Because the biggest hurdle a lot of women face when it comes to actually starting weight training is feeling overwhelmed and not sure how to actually do it. So if you're very, very new to the gym, I'd highly recommend that you join my Reformer Girls Club community. Those are the lifestyle shifts that have helped make the biggest difference for my own hormones and my cycle. But the one thing I really want to be clear with you right now is please don't watch this video and think, right, tomorrow I'm gonna do all of these things, tick, tick, tick on the list, because you have to understand this is a big, long-term lifestyle change. Do not think you can do all of this in a matter of a day. My tip for you is just choose 1 or 2 things that I've mentioned. Ideally, the ones that you struggle with the most. You know, the ones where you thought, oh yeah, I definitely don't do enough of that. That's your starting point. Get consistent, and then you can always build up from there. And if you've made it to this part of the video, you deserve a medal. Comment down below groovy, because you deserve a virtual hug from me. And that is it, folks. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!